Good morning everybody, and it is a very early Sunday morning. I've been meaning to do this video for months, but it's one of those ones where you've got to go up dead early on a morning because it's in a busy place of Sunderland. So it's Sunday morning and we're off to Albion Place, an old Bishopwearmouth street. I'm currently walking up Green Terrace. Now Albion Place is 5 houses. Well, it was originally 5 houses. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Marcello's being number 5. Now, today the Cooper Rose sits straight ahead of us up there, and it's actually numbered 2 to 4. But really, it was 1 to 2. The National Reserve Club next door is 3, and then it's 4. And then it's 5, so Cooper Rose 2 to 4, but then there's a 4 further along. Now what happened was, there's a date on this building up here somewhere, was it 1903? What they did is, for the 1 and 2, they put this extra bit on the front and turned it into retail space. So technically the houses were still there, but what they did was just put some retail space on. Now if you probably remember, there used to be Durham Books there, Hot Rats Records in that particular spot. In the early 2000s it was changed into a nightclub, so nothing of the actual original houses remains. But this story starts in 1824 in South America, in British Guiana. A young girl called Charlotte Isabella Holmes was born. Now this video, the title is called The Ghost of the Cooper Rose. When I wrote this originally for Facebook purposes, it's called The Ghost in the Attic. Okay, so Charlotte was born to Joseph Henry Hendon Holmes and Mary Ann Pemberton. They're a well-to-do family. The Pembertons owned lots of land over where Barnes Park is, Low Barnes, Bainbridge Home. And the father of Charlotte, he was an advocate out in this British colony down in South America. He died in 1831 and was buried there, and it was Demerara, think of the brown sugar. There's actually a memorial in Sunderland Cemetery for Joseph and Mary Ann, and there's also a plaque next to the altar at Sunderland Minster just down the road which remembers Joseph and Mary Ann, plus all of the children apart from Charlotte, because she was to outlive them all. Sorry about the noise, quite a few seagulls out this morning. So Charlotte and the family must have come back to Bishopwearmouth at some point, either in the 1820s or after the father died. Now Charlotte would be a spinster all of her life, and she would live at number 1, which would probably be the end, roughly where the entrance is to Wetherspoons now. A place I'll probably spend far too much time, but it's good for inspiring stories. I'm doing a bit of research in there. Now Charlotte had an Irish servant called Catherine Barry, who was around 36 or 37 year olds at the time. Now Charlotte started hearing voices. She even once thought she saw a figure moving around in that particular property. She heard a child crying, but Catherine couldn't hear anything. So Charlotte thought the place was haunted. Now sadly Charlotte became ill. Dr. Mallon was called, and he determined that she had a really bad case of smallpox, which obviously could be potentially lethal, especially when Charlotte was in her early 60s. She must have got through her life without ever catching it before. So they brought in a nurse to help Catherine care for Charlotte, but sadly Charlotte took a turn for the worse. Now the nurse as well, she started hearing voices, child crying. Again, she saw a figure scurrying about in the particular property, but Catherine didn't hear anything. So it was Charlotte and the nurse who thought the place was haunted. Sadly, Charlotte passed away, and she was buried at Sunderland Cemetery. Now, before she died, the nurse got a candle and started exploring the property to find out what was going on. And when she went up into the attic, she got a shock because in there was a little boy and a woman she'd never seen before, and it was like a makeshift hospital. And it turns out what had actually happened was Catherine, her son, had got smallpox, and to try and keep him safe, she'd hid him in the attic of her employer. Now, Catherine was trusted and really liked by Charlotte, so that little boy with his smallpox on a night time had been coming down into the particular house and touching things. Sadly, that's how Charlotte had become infected with smallpox. So the reason why she died was because of her own servant who she loved. Now, obviously, Catherine was blamed for this. It was a bit of a disgrace. Because of her, the person who trusted her died. So sad end for Charlotte and also for Catherine. Now, Catherine in 1911 was living at the Little Sisters Catholic home up High Barnes, and I think in 1916 she died at 33 Niles Street. I think she did, because there's no other Catherine Barry died apart from that one. It wasn't a common name. But the twist in this particular tale is that even to this day, the staff at the Cooper Rose, I think it's haunted. And they have a name for this ghost, and they call it Sheila. With noises and anything strange happens, they blame it on Sheila. But you never know whether that Sheila is actually Charlotte. But also as well, other people did die in this particular property. If you've read on my Facebook stuff, read about the Reverend Horton Hart Yeld. He lived at number 2. I've done a story about him and his family had a few tragedies living at that particular place. So that's the ghost of the Cooper Rose. As you can see, we'll have a little look across. Further across. It's not open yet. It's not even 7 o'clock. But it's a grand little terrace, as Albion Place will have. Now, when this story all happened was May 1883 when Charlotte died. She was buried at Sunderland Cemetery. I don't think she has a headstone. She might be mentioned on a parent's grave. But if you're ever in Sunderland Minster, go and have a look behind the altar. And you'll see all the family on here. But look, these are grand houses. There it is. Sunderland National Reserve Club is number 3. Then there's number 4, and then there's number 5. So 1 and 2, I'm going to drop a picture into the video so you can have a see what it looked like back in the 1800s. This would have been a grand place to live, because even till the 1870s, literally, this was the edge of Bishopwearmouth. Where that car is in the distance is Tunstall Lane. Well, it's Tunstall Road now, but it was Tunstall Lane then. Literally, up until Ashbrook started being developed in the 1870s, that was open countryside apart from houses and the odd like grand house and cottages. So to live here at Albion Place was a prime position. There's only 5 houses, but they've got lots of history and so on. You can just see the end bit here, which has been stuck on. It's absolutely massive inside. You can't even imagine that it was like just all it was 2 houses. But anyway, that's enough of that. So that's the ghost of the Cooper Rose. I'm going to put in the description my story, the ghost in the attic, so it can give you a bit more detail in case I've forgotten anything, because it is quite early on a Sunday morning and I'm going back to bed because I've just been to McDonald's. Right, anyway, thank you very much for watching. I will see you next time. If you want to, click on the like and also give it a subscribe, help grow the channel. Right, anyway, I'm off. I'm going back to bed. See you later. Bye.